Hey, what's happening, gamers? Welcome back to another Power Rangers Arcade, and we're playing on the PS4. So like, comment, subscribe.
Woohoo!
Today is going to be Mighty Morphin Pink. So yeah,
Ooh, Kimmy.
This is a DLC episode. We're going to bring in Jason Dragon Shield, also DLC, and I'm not really good with Green Ranger. I would like to keep this all Mighty Morphin, but I can't. So we're gonna bring in Gia just to help my lack of skill, and we're gonna have Megazord power.
Yes.
I'm not very good with Tommy, but anyway, we will be doing more of the character arcade as more characters are added. So just keep that in mind, people. But I believe this is going to be our last arcade episode for a while because we did Lord Drakkon's arcade with the DLC skin, and we've done all the characters. So this is kind of, I don't know, I thought it'd be fun to attempt it.
Yeah, I like, I mean, I think we did this with Ranger Slayer, but this is really cool to see with actual Kimberly.
Kimmy, yeah, actual Kimmy.
So it's time to see, yeah, this mode with Kimberly, the Pink Ranger, Pterodactyl.
That's right. Of course, I'm not very good with Kim, so this is going to be interesting.
What mode is this called again?
Arcade.
Arcade mode.
Story mode is at a later time.
Well, I really have trouble using her bow when when I try to push a direction with her bow, I end up missing, so I usually always just press triangle without pushing a direction because it's really hard for me to aim, but I think with practice it's a little bit easier to aim, but that's why I feel like with her, it's like you really need to figure out where you're actually aiming at her arrows and stuff like that because it takes a while.
Yep. And she has not the Bow of Darkness right now. She's using her classic power bow. That's why it's all white. Boom!
Purple!
Yep. Although, actually, if you go back and you watch the very first season of Power Rangers, the first episode where they get their weapons, the Rangers have a different name for the weapons than what they became. So it became the power bow, but they all have different names. Only Jason's power sword is the one that had the same name. It wasn't even called a power axe for Zach. So go by and watch the very first episode where they get their swords and stuff, guys, and you'll find out that they were named something different. And then as the ADR sessions went on, it changed to power axe, power daggers, power lance, power bow, but power sword was always the same. So
oh yeah,
it's kind of funny.
Yeah, definitely.
Oof. So yeah, I played with just Kim that entire episode, so that was kind of fun. Let's see how I do in round 2.
I feel like Kim got the short end of the stick with her helmet because it's like a frowny face helmet.
They're all kind of frowny face helmets, but I mean, Enway usually does a great job like incorporating the way that the Rangers' helmets look, but the mouths feel like they're a little bit off.
Yeah, I mean, unless that's how she looked in the show, which she might have. I feel like her helmet always looked a little weird to me.
She looks more feminine in the Legacy Wars game, like facial features for the helmet.
I just have to say, some of the helmets, like in some of the shows, not just Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, but some of them, like there's another Pink Ranger helmet that just looks really weird. Like it just makes me, Gia's helmet looks awesome. And I feel like Jason and Tommy's helmets both look really good, actually. They have really cool stern expressions and stuff, but Kim's kind of has a weird expression. Yeah, that's just weird things that I notice.
You're allowed to notice that stuff. Sorry, Jason. Kim is kind of unstoppable right now. Oh, I tried to throw. So if you were asking me before how you throw, on the PlayStation you would hit triangle and circle at the same time. Oh. So just like some of the other games that you played.
Oh, okay, wow. Okay, thank you.
And it's best to try to throw people when they're guarding. Yeah. Also, I've noticed, especially online, as somebody is coming in, if you hit the throw right away when they drop down, they can't prevent you from throwing them. So it kind of helps you out a little bit.
Yeah, I was just telling Luke earlier today, the only thing missing from this game is a big, like, face of Zordon in a tube fighting people.
How would that work out?
I would enjoy that. Just like, Oracle never ended up in Injustice with her wheelchair, so...
She ended up as Batgirl, though.
Yeah, that's true, but I would have liked...
She was a fun character to play as.
I would have liked to see Oracle. I don't know why. I just wanted to see it. But, yeah, the other thing I would love to see in this is the well, actually, I'm going to call it the OS Alpha, because I think I'm going to try to bring that phrase into existence.
Well, there's a couple ways you could do it. It could stand for original series, or it could be old school.
Yeah, old school.
Yeah,
old
OS.
school Alpha, because I don't really want to say OG. It's kind of like gangstery, especially for a kid's channel. It's like, so yeah, like, I feel like I'm gonna try to make the phrase, like, try to start a thing with OS, old school Alpha. But that would be cool, because we saw the, new movie Alpha, but it would be really awesome to see tiny little, robot Alpha beating people up from the original series. Oh my gosh.
Totally. But the thing is, I don't know if he's going to be a character or not, but there is a character model of Alpha that is available in the... It was a collector's edition, like a special book that you got like digital access to. I don't know if Enway is going to be sending out the character. I missed him. Kim's going to lose. I want to keep... Yeah, I wanted to keep Kim in, but oh well.
Aww.
So they showed Alpha in this book, and that was also where you kind of got a look at what Trini, like, Zord was going to look like.
Yeah.
Because she showed up in the concept art. But they also still have concept art for the Blue Ranger and the... what other Ranger? Like, Saber-Tooth Tiger. Like, as actual, character models. So, who knows what the future is going to be for this game, but I feel like not everybody is going to get, characters from all the teams, but you might get a full Mighty Morphin team. We just need Billy and Zach. And then you have a full Mighty Morphin cast, which...
Yeah, definitely.
Nothing against the other shows, but you wouldn't have anything without Mighty Morphin, so... It's
true. Like, they started...
And they're still, after 25 years, the original series is still super popular.
Yeah, definitely.
Crazy.
I mean, the thing I don't get with Power Rangers is every new series that comes along, it's like the Rangers are supposed to be more powerful than the last, which in Sentai it's completely opposite. It's like everyone is powerful.
Yeah, that's why they can have crossovers. But the original Saban series, they actually had a ton of crossovers, if you think about it. Mighty Morphin had a crossover with Kamen Rider. They had a crossover with the Alien Rangers, which were another Sentai show. So pretty much like all the Ninja Zords that you saw in the later seasons of Mighty Morphin when Rocky, Aisha, and Adam were in the show, and Kat, that was from the Super Sentai Ninja show that they actually had to use footage for because they were having issues. Like, the ratings were down so much that they had to bring in a new cast of characters, and they turned the kids... like the teenagers into little kids by I believe Rita's father was the one who caused a spell on the earth.
Yeah.
But the reason why they did that, it wasn't a storytelling thing. It had to do with the ratings were terrible after Jason, Trini, and Zach left the show.
Yep.
And they kind of limped on a little bit. The movie made them popular for a little bit, but when more fans got older and they understood that it wasn't Jason, Trini, and Zach that were in the movie, and, the ninja stuff just didn't work. What they should have done, which would have helped a lot, is if they would have adapted the Sentai footage from Die Ranger, and then it probably wouldn't have been a big deal that the original cast was replaced, but the fact that they were still using the Mighty Morphin suits, it really angered a lot of fans that loved the original cast.
Well, it always reminds me of, if you have somebody leave and you're working at a job and you have a going away party for them and you get them a cake and you're like, thank you for your service and all this stuff, and it's a nice going away and it's friendly, that feels really good. But if you show up to work one day and your coworkers are randomly replaced and no one speaks about it and they just pretend like, oh no, that's, they just never speak about it and they just have someone else do their job and you're not allowed to ask about it or anything. It's just so awkward. I've actually had jobs where people just leave and you're not allowed to ask what happened to them, and you have to keep going even though you know that your boss fired them, and you have to pretend like nothing happened. And that's what I feel like what happened with the original cast was like they left and they were replaced immediately and everyone had to pretend like everything was fine, like nothing happened. And it was just really awkward. Like, you know, the whole, yeah, it didn't really do any good to say they went to a peace conference because they never came back to say how they were doing at the peace conference. It's like sending your puppy to the farm, but you never get to see your puppy again, and you wonder if he really went to the farm or not.
I don't think Power Rangers was unionized until, like, I believe it was the Disney era. But yeah, they tried to get it to be a union show because the actors and the staff weren't being paid anything, and Saban was making, like, bank.
Yeah.
And, you know, ASJ, a couple of the staff members, and some other people, they stood up to Saban and they demanded more pay for everybody, and Saban was like, oh, I'm just gonna fire everybody and hire, like, what's sad is when Rocky, Aisha, and Adam came onto the show,
they probably got paid more, didn't they?
They got paid less.
Oh my god.
Because they were the replacements, so they didn't get the Red Ranger, Yellow Ranger, and Black Ranger salary that the original characters had because they were new to the show. So, and then actually everybody kind of, I believe I heard they didn't get as much pay when they did Zeo, but they were just happy to be back on the show again because they were replaced by aliens.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's kind of like, oh, well, just kind of showing people, like, well, I can replace you altogether, like, yeah, it's just, I feel like, it's like, most times, like, when there's, like, a show or something, you don't really see all the Rocky stuff, it's always behind the scenes, but somehow you were able to kind of see some of that, like, Rocky, like, start and, like, kind of like people disputing pay and stuff, it kind of appeared on the show. It was so prominent that literally they got... I feel like it was going too far to fire them. Like, I feel like they should have suspended them or cut their pay or something, but, like, or, like, given them a talking to, but firing the original cast was absolutely like, the fact that...
here's the thing. If you're gonna get rid of the gang leader of what Saban saw as a coup, then you fire the original Red Ranger. And, you know, he had just banked on bringing in the White Ranger, so he made a gamble and he won for a while. And then by the time the third season started, Power Rangers almost got canceled.
But the thing about firing the Red Ranger is that it goes against the entire point of the show, which is the Red Ranger is a leader and everyone follows him. Mm-hmm. If you fire the leader, it just breaks apart the entire group. It doesn't make any sense anymore. It's like firing George Washington in the middle of the Revolutionary War. It doesn't make any sense. You know, it's ridiculous.
Pink Ranger, I knew you would eventually betray us.
You won't be around long enough to tell Drakkon.
I just wanted to call her Pink Ranger because, I don't know, it was fun.
It's fine.
I hope they get back Goldar's voice actor. He's still alive. I would love to have him be the voice of Goldar in this game. Be fun. Okay, let's see how I do.
It would be like if somebody else owned K-Wing's Let's Plays and they fired you and hired somebody else to be you, to be K-Wing. It doesn't... And then I still stayed on the show. That's how weird it is. That's how weird it was to lose.
Well, you know what people are saying? Because they want Adam, Rocky, and Aisha to appear in the new Power Ranger comic books because they're, you know, the Rangers are getting their powers back after the whole Shattered Grid Beyond the thing, and they're finally bringing the White Ranger into the show, or the comic book, but the guy has said, this isn't the, you know, Mighty Morphin series, and even though we're going to have Rocky, Adam, and Aisha interact with people, they said we're not going to be following the show canon. So some people are going around on the internet saying it would be great if the people who end up going to the Peace Conference are Billy, Kimberly, and Tommy, and then you have Adam become the White Ranger.
Oh my god!
You know, Jason become the White Ranger, Adam become the Red Ranger, Rocky become the Blue Ranger, and Aisha become the Pink Ranger.
Whoa!
So they change Power Ranger canon just a little bit, and you keep on this time Zach and Trini, and you have Jason get the upgrade and become the White Ranger.
Well, the reason why it was so weird was because Trini was so loved, and Zach was like basically second in command, and everyone loved Zach's hip hop keto. He was such a great, like, you know, person in real life, and also, you know, him as a ranger is so much fun. And then you had the leader, you know, and it was like, not only did they get rid of some of the rangers, but they got rid of some of the main, you know, powerhouse rangers. You know what I mean? Like, no offense, but like Zach versus Billy, Zach would have taken Billy on, like, very easily. You know what I'm saying? Like, and Trini versus Kimberly, Trini would have easily pwned Kimberly in a ranger versus ranger battle. So, like, they basically took away the most powerful rangers.
They took
Peace Conference.
Yeah, they took the ones that could actually fight. It almost felt like it was kind of like a Rita and Zed like thing, because the Power Rangers kind of lost their leadership a little bit. But no, if people are concerned about like the Rangers becoming different colors, which I mean it's comic book, they can do whatever they want. I would really love for like the Red Ranger to kind of be like a ranking system. So if Tommy and Kimberly and Billy ended up going to the Peace Conference and were, you know, written out of the comic,
I should have done that long ago.
Then the Red Ranger, since the White Ranger is kind of like the more powerful character, would make sense for Jason to take over the White Ranger powers, and then you would have Zach become the Red Ranger.
It did make more sense for Jason to be the White Ranger, and I always thought it was weird that Tommy became the White Ranger.
Well, he lost his powers at the time, so that's how they did that.
Also because he was at the Peace Conference, but yeah.
Well, no. When they added the White Ranger to the show, Austin St. John and company were still like there.
Oh.
It was during the filming of like I think the 10th episode of the White Ranger that, you know, they did the thing. Like they were trying to get like better pay for people.
The thing that I don't like, this is exactly why I don't like. What makes me uncomfortable about watching like Marvel movies with like, and I'm gonna like when I'm watching Captain America and Tony Stark get into it and they're not sure who the real leader is. It's always an anger thing.
Cap is always the leader for me.
Of course, he's always supposed to be the leader, but then you have Tony Stark acting like he's the leader. That's how I feel like with, you know, Green Ranger and Red Ranger. It's like you have a designated leader and then you have somebody who's always trying to usurp that person's like leadership. Just makes me so uncomfortable because it's just creating tension that doesn't need to be there. Like, and I feel like even when that person ends up being the leader, they don't do a great job and they kind of are like, oh, I guess that, you know, like just being strong doesn't make you a leader. I don't know what I was trying to say. It's just, yeah, it's confusing to me. Like, I always thought the Red Ranger should have been the one to be the White Ranger powers because he was the one who got the Dragon Shield.
Whoa!
You know, he got Tommy's Dragon Shield to begin with, and like, it's just so, I don't know, it just didn't seem right. I just feel like if I was Austin St. John at that moment, giving and going, oh yeah, you're the new White Ranger, I would feel so uncomfortable. It would be like, I don't know how to describe it, but it's like, I don't know how to describe it any other way, but like, I don't know, it's just kind of like someone puts you in charge, like Zordon puts you in charge, says you're the leader, and then it's like, oh, except for when this guy shows up, then he can randomly do whatever he wants.
Yeah, but you knew why that happened. It had to do with the actor left the show and they needed to have a new leader of the Power Rangers. And, you know, that's kind of why it happened. So you betray me, my Ranger Slayer.
I am not yours to command anymore. This ends now.
I like the powerful voice for little Kimmy there. It's kind of fun.
Thanks.
I'm actually doing better with Kimberly than I thought I was going to. But yeah, there's a bunch of people talking about how, because, you know, Kyle Higgins said, you know, I'm not going to be following the TV show because my Power Ranger show or comic is different because they have cell phones and it takes place now. It doesn't take place in the 90s, you know. So they said, we're going to do things different. We're going to stick to Power Rangers canon a little bit, but it's not going to go the same way you think it is. He says, you know, some Rangers might not be the same colors, because they showed that they can easily swap out the Ranger colors by having Trini, when she became the Red Ranger, and Kimberly became the Blue Ranger, and, it, you know, it showed they could swap their powers, the original 5, which was interesting. It was kind of weird seeing Zach in pink, but he didn't have a skirt. so the skirt was gone.
That's good.
But he was the Pink Ranger for a while.
I mean, noticing Kimberly's outfit right here, it's like, it makes me wonder how uncomfortable Trini was without a skirt, because they're wearing spandex. It's like so revealing. It's like, I would feel so much more comfortable with a skirt, but it's like, I guess Trini was just a really good sport, but...
Well, I mean, it also had to do with, like, what they explain it in the comic book when Kimberly becomes the Blue Ranger, the Triceratops, she has her skirt again, and they say it has to do because of her femininity, whereas Trini is more of like a, you know, tomboy, like, leader type, so she's not really...
Yeah, but I feel like Trini's very feminine in her own way. Like,
yeah, in her own way, but she just
not,
didn't
like,
want the skirt, because when she became the Red Ranger, she still didn't have the skirt.
So basically, she's like all about, you know, getting the job done. She's not worried about accessories.
I really liked her as the leader. It was kind of cool. I mean, I still don't remember the reason why they did that. But yeah, I really feel like the Red Ranger role should have been given to, in the original series, like, it probably should have gone to Billy, like, afterwards.
Yes! I agree. Like, when he was to continue to be on the show, and like, yeah, what? That would have been so demeaning. Like, I think it would have been. I think it would have been better for fans, like, to give people kind of closure, like, you know, the Red Ranger is gone now, so we're gonna end up swapping powers. Yeah, and that's, you know. I know, right?
But that way you still have, like, an original cast member, and it would feel like Billy earned the Red Ranger mantle.
I know. What is he doing? What is he doing the whole time if he hasn't earned the leadership by then? No more brainwashing. No more stealing morphers. Your rule is at an end.
That was actually, we did that really fast. That was 20 minutes.
That was awesome.
That was, yeah. I'm getting somewhat decent at this game.
I agree. I feel like it was so demeaning to make Billy, like, the assistant, like, or whatever, or work in the office, or do paperwork or something. It was so, it actually angered me.
So, getting back to the Boom Comics, pretty much they've said they're going to do things differently. Rocky, Adam, and Aisha are going to be introduced eventually. It's not going to be this year, though, because the focus is going to be on the White Ranger and, you know, how Jason and Tommy, like, interact with each other during this, and why the White Ranger needs to come in, especially after the whole Shattered Grid thing. So it's going to be pretty interesting, but there you go, people. That is the end of our Power Rangers arcade run for now. When we return with the arcade, we'll be looking at Trini Zord first, because I'm super excited to do Trini's arcade. Then we'll be doing the Blue Movie Ranger, and finally White Mystic Force Ranger. Ooh. So it's going to be pretty exciting. We still have a couple verses for you guys left throughout the rest of this month, and hopefully pretty soon the voice acting patch and the new Rangers will release. But we have tons of other videos for you to check out. Thank you so much for supporting K-Wing's Let's Plays, and we hope you guys had fun with the DLC episode of Mighty Morphin Pink, which is part of the Collector's Edition. I have talked to Enway about including it in either the Season Pass 1 or 2, or like as a free update or something, but I don't know if that's going to happen. Currently, the Lord Drakkon Evo and Kimberly are part of the Collector's Edition only, so you had to get that before the game released. But until we meet again, God bless and happy gaming, thanks for watching, and may the power protect you.